Yes, indeed. We are back for another INS15 preview, well, race recap / preview race of the upcoming Omaha Hobbyplex race that I'll be attending. You'll be there as well, Jason. Welcome back. Thank you for your time. I know you're a busy man. Also, a big shout out to all the sponsors. They are A Main Hobbies, Hobby Bing, obviously JConcepts, Schumacher, Exalt, Team Associated, Reedy, and of course, bringing you all the live coverage will be the crew from the Elite RC Productions. We've done a very good job. Patrick had to stand in for me at Island, and I think he lost his voice a little bit. Sounded like it.
I mean, it's kind of nice. I think one of the things that I like to see is, Patrick kind of getting thrown into a lot of these different roles. And, he's gone from being, at this point, a racer's son. He's a racer's son to a racer, a good racer, and then getting into the producing of events at his own track there at Savannah. Phil Hurd, I think he was the club president or in the club for a long time. He ran events and kind of getting in with you guys and now experiencing things on this end of the business. So he's really versed in RC at this point.
He is. We call him the floater because he can float between every position pretty much that we have. His RD, obviously, he learned that from Lance, and he can do commentary. He's very good at his interviews. He can run. He isn't too good at running cameras, but he can do it, and he can actually do all the switching and stuff that Danny Paz does. But it's good to see him. I'll see him here at Wicked Weekend, as we're probably recording this Wicked Weekend. As this is released, Wicked Weekend probably would have happened already, because we are recording it about a week before that. And then it's I'll be on my way to Omaha from Wicked Weekend, so it should be good. I'm looking forward to it. But before we get into Omaha, it's been kind of a lull in 10 scale because we had the Raw Nationals, the Euros, I think. Yeah, so it was like INS, then we had the Raw Nationals, and I think it was about a week and a half later, maybe 2 weeks, we had the Euros, which is unusual because usually the Euros are later in the month, but it was good to have them back to back. So it's been a busy schedule for you. You've been everywhere. I think every weekend you're on the road, except maybe this weekend that you wasn't. But that's part of the job, right? And I'm about to kick back in and start traveling myself. I did miss the Island round, and I've Lance and Danny and Patrick, they're all like, you should have came. They were showing me all the action figures and all this type of stuff there. And I was just like, it would be the place that I like.
Yeah, Star Collectibles. The place used to be a toy factory.
Really?
Back in the place was originally built as a toy factory, I believe. And so they have some old toys that were made there in the building. And, since the owner there has changed it into his own collectible store, and then to a hobby store with the track, 2 tracks. He's got an oval track, dirt oval track, and then the carpet off-road. So it's a nice place. It's really kind of cool.
Yeah, and a different style of carpet racing from what we saw at RC1. I'll put up a video here later. That banked turn coming off the straightaway, I loved it. I saw Aaron Mitchell pull off a pass on that. I think it was him. Mm-hmm. That was amazing. Like he put it into like some turbo boost, went on the inside and just, I don't know. I can't remember which round it was. I hope I picked the right one, but that's one of the moments I remember about that race, that track. And I like those bank corners. It seemed like a much faster track compared to like RC1.
Well, anytime you put those big bank corners, I think it speeds up, what's going on. I mean, I know when I've raced there, I've been there, I don't know, 2 or 3 times now. They've had that big wall ride once or twice, and then a big berm at the end of the straightaway several times. And I liked it. It was hard to get adjusted to one of them. One year we'd come down the straightaway and then do the bank turn, and you had to kind of readjust the way the car wanted to flow coming off the berm. And of course you get it after a while, but it adds another element to that track where you got these massive walls that you're running so hard into and on and trying to race with other cars. So, as we talked about, the carpet racing is kind of prone to these, get-togethers of drivers and, not really saying hacking, but it's just prone to close racing, the cars getting together. And so then you got to race on two bank corners. That adds to it. But I like the island track. I think that the facility, the upstairs, where you can watch over the drivers and over the whole track, is really a unique perspective. And yeah, they're going to have the Roar Nationals there in a I don't know, month or two or whatever it is. And yeah, we're glad to continue to keep going back there.
Yeah, the Raw Nationals should be good there. It's going to be quite stacked because it seems to be a very popular track. And we're actually watching A2 of two-wheel drive mod where Brock Champlin kind of wrapped this up in two-wheel drive. I'm really not surprised there because he's really good on carpet. We've seen him race like for many years on carpet, and that Schumacher car is extremely good on carpet. And this is like, I hate to say this is his specialty because he does good on dirt as well, but this is his specialty. And we see Rivkin there. Rivkin having a good run with him as well. Also, in the stock classes, there was some good battles. Like Nate obviously ran away with it, kind of an A1, but behind him, like Dustin Fox, Aaron, and what's his name? And Talon Henley. Why did I forget his name? They had a very good battle in the A1 of two-wheel drive. So kind of the guys we kind of expected to do well on this, Dustin Fox, Aaron, and Henley, because Henley's used to the high grip stuff as well. Well, was that Rivkin that made a mistake? Might have been. Well, here we go. We got a little bit of view of the track. We was talking about it. No big crazy jumps on this, or even wild sections like we saw at RC1, except for that high speed bank, which I really like. Otherwise, it had a pretty straightforward track. It looked a lot It looks a lot faster.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I like this track, and just talking about Brock a little bit, he did win both classes, and like you said, it's you don't want to say it's his specialty, but it is. He seems to really excel on carpet. I mean, the biggest races he's won seem to be on carpet. I mean, the Florida Carpet Champs, he won in two-wheel drive, and he won the Roar Nationals now. He won both last year, and he won four-wheel a couple of years before that. But yeah, he's got all his national titles in carpet, and he has the Florida Carpet Champs win. So I think that this is where it's a great place for him to get those points. And that's what I was glad to see is that, because initially with the way the points were shaping up, we had Aiden and Chase Lemieux doing so well with the first couple races going more their way. And then now we had one kind of go Brock's way. So it's kind of tightening up the points battle between all those drivers. So you got Aiden, Chase, Brock, and I think Spencer's, in there. But it's still the way the points work in this on our series. They're very close. You're separated by 1-2 points. So if you're really serious about winning this series or the championship, you do really need to run all the races because you are inevitably you're going to have a throwout or two, and you need to be able to rely on that. And as you're kind of going through the points here as we're talking about it, Aiden, Brock, Spencer, Dakota, Chase Lemieux, that's got to be the two-wheel class. So you can see this thing is going to be really tight by the time we get to Hoosier in October. And then that's a track that has its own set of challenges and guys that kind of peak out. So I don't think Aiden has ever won the two-wheel or the four-wheel championship on the INS. Brock has, Spencer has, Dakota has. So it's going to be interesting to see how this thing kind of shakes down. And it is exciting that we have multiple people in the running. We also have multiple manufacturers in the running. Not only do we have Associated, we got the Schumacher, Xray. I think the last show we talked about is a lot about the different brands and kind of talked about that a lot. But you can see that's what kind of gets, kind of heats things up here.
Yeah, I'm just looking through some of the points there on the Elite RC Productions website. Danny Pass has done a great job. I didn't even realize he had all the different. So if we look at Aiden Horn, who's attended all 3 events, he really has, without a drop, he has 297 points. He has a TQ, a win. He has 1 second or 0 seconds. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how Danny's done this, but he had a 101 at trackside where he won. He had a 98 at RC1. And then Island Speedway, he has a 98, and that puts him at 199 points. Other than Brock and Spencer, who both missed the second round at RC1, they're on 197 points.
Yep.
Fend, who did he attend? He missed one too, right? Yeah, he missed trackside. It's actually very tight. I mean, even down to Davey Bada, 194 points. Him and Schimmel are tied together.
Correct. Yeah.
Rinderneck, who missed round 2, he's in 8th. Brandon Foote, who I think Brandon Foote is like a very good Pacific Northwest driver. I got to see him. He's very good on carpet. Very, very good on carpet. Very quiet, very silent, doesn't make much noise, but he's a very fast driver. And I got to meet him and his dad a few years ago at the Florida Carpet Championships, which is coming up too. And he'll be here very fast.
Everything's coming up.
I know. Then we look at 4-wheel drive. We have Brock once again in front, followed by Aiden Horn. Rivkin and Horn are tied. Fend in 4th, Lemieux 5th, Schimmel in 6th, Bada, Rinderneck, Sontag, and Brandon Foote, your top 10. And a big shout out to like Juan Lopez, the one guy from the Northeast making these races. He has a full-time job, you know, and races part-time. So shout out to, I call him the Axe Murderer. That's the name.
Well, I met him several years back, and very talented driver. And, you know, coming from New York and in that surrounding area, we don't have a lot of drivers that follow our whole series, and we really appreciate him doing that. He got on with us in JConcepts a couple of years ago. I want to say that the time that I met him more so was when we did our race at RC Madness. We had the turf race at RC Madness, and him and a lot of the New York guys and Connecticut guys would come, of course, and we always had a good race there, and he was always one of the guys that came every year, and he's continuing with the series, which is great to see. And you know, and maybe as we eventually here, as we start to look at, you know, changing locations, changing dates, or not dates, but more locations of the INS series down the road, you know, maybe you know, we can gain some other followers, which is traditionally what happens is we go to different locations and we find new tracks to go to where these drivers can we get new people hooked on a series.
Yeah, and you know what I didn't know about Lopez is that he's an avid 8-skill nitro racer. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So he has a big fan base. Every time he's in the track, everybody from New York's in there cheering him on.
Right, so, because it's a huge area, big population, and not a lot of racers from there make a lot of travel events. And I think that he's holding it down, right? It's great to have somebody holding it down from your area.
And you know what? I didn't realize this either by talking to guys like Jay Bless and other Northeast New York racers. New York actually has a rich history of 10-skill racing. Back in the day when it was like low-C and Associated, with a lot of low-C drivers going up to the race, obviously Associated. And I think I was told there was like a track in a basement in Queens or the Bronx, one of the two back in the day. So I've been meaning to do like a history of RC in New York type of thing with those guys, but we've been talking about it for years. We just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't race there in the 90s, but I raced there in the early or in the 2000s. We had a race at Long Island Raceway, and you know, there's Rob Betts. I mean, there is he was the guy that owned the track and ran the track, but there was been a lot of racing from that area, and I would see them not only at the race we did there, which we only did one, and then we started changing the way that we did the series, but I would see them a lot when we did our event at RC Excitement, which was in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. We had a Northeast Championship that we turned into the Fall Indoor Nationals at RC Excitement. And I'm not gonna say, I can't say all, but we got such a huge turnout from the Northeast racers for that event and the New York guys. And man, we had a crew there. racing that from Northeast Racers. So I would say I definitely miss seeing a lot of those guys because in that generation, let's say it was 2010, 11, 12, in that area, we used to go there a lot and we got a great turnout seeing those drivers. And then we would see them a little bit again when we went to RC Madness in Connecticut. But it seemed like the dirt track at um, in Fitchburg at Excitement seemed to really bring them out more. And I think that generation time period was right with like you're saying, there was a huge uh, 10 scale presence in the Northeast. And I think that timing was lining up right when all those guys were doing so much of it at that time. So I think a lot of it has gone to 8 scale, but there is still good pockets of 10 scale racing. And there's been so many tracks that opened and closed over the years everywhere. But of course, there's been a lot in the New York area too.
That's probably not cheap to have an indoor track in New York State.
Mm-hmm.
I would say. All right. I want to go over some of the stock results. I would like to say that Nate Sutherland takes the win in 4-wheel drive, which is great because this is kind of what I expected from Nate to get her into the stock class on that Schumacher and start dominating. And he did. I mean, he had in A1, he had a 9, but he was able to come. I think he might have lost a wheel nut in one of the races. It might have been A1 of 4-wheel drive, or it might have been A2 of 2-wheel drive. I can't remember. But he ran on, he 9th, and then he went A2, 1 and 2. Dustin Fox, who I'm not surprised at this because he's very fast on carpet.
Yeah.
Aaron Mitchell, who was my dark horse pick, came in 3rd. He had a 3rd in A1, a 3rd in A2, and a 3rd in...
Great showing. Yeah, great showing.
It's a home track, but I did pick him. But I'll give him a podium. I think Chase Raymond, we look at the Raymond, the dyad that is the Raymond kid, the twins, and we think dirt, right? That's where they shine. That's where they're really good at. But I think he getting a 4th on the carpet is good for him. Then we had Jake Wiggs, who had a 5th, 4th, and a 4th. This is we're looking at 13.5 Xray 4-wheel drive. I think one of the most surprising here is Jovi Levin. I was expecting Jovi Levin to be in the hunt for the win. And maybe not racing as much this year. I don't know. I know he's in university, so that could be part of it. And Talon Henley, who had some very good battles in 2-wheel drive, he comes in 7th. Kalis Lowe, have I met him? Yeah, I don't think I've met him.
You probably met him, I would say, at RC1 in Michigan. I believe they were there.
Okay. It's been a while now. I forget easily. I'm getting old.
He's little. He's a young driver.
Okay. I might not have met him. I would remember him if he was young.
I would say maybe 10 or 11.
But I've heard his name before. You know where I heard his name? At Hoosier. I don't think I met him yet. Okay. So I think at the Nationals, I heard his name. I've heard his name prior to that as well. And then we had Levi Raymond in 9th and Danny Chavez in 10th. So I'm actually shocked by Chavez. I look at Chavez and carpet and stock in the stock class, and I'm like, this is a podium guy, right? He's done very well at his, mind you, I would say that his track in Florida is way different from a lot of these tracks, a lot more wide open, a lot faster, a lot more crazier layouts as well. But I kind of expect Chavez to be up there a little bit more than, I said this at RC1 as well. Let's keep it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I think that it shows you the level of competition that this is kind of attracting. Because when you watch Daniel drive and you watch him run laps, he's as fast as anybody out there in the class, and it just shows you how close it is, and how easily you could probably go from 3rd and tumble to 10th. It's not an easy game, and like you said, you look down these names, and I mean it's a tough show.
It is. And then, so Nate must have lost the wheel nut in A1 of 4-wheel drive because he won A1 and A2 in 2-wheel drive. Then Jovi Levin, who got a 2, 2, and a 7. Dustin Fox, a 8 and a 5 and a 1. Talon Henley had a good run as well. And like I said, there was a great battle between Dustin Fox, Talon Henley, and Aaron Mitchell. We had Levi Raymond, Jake Wiggs, Chase Raymond, Jacob Schweisberger, and Ryder Himanek, who was up at RC1. I don't believe I've met Jacob yet. I might have. I apologize if I haven't. I'm pretty bad with names, meeting you the first time.
Jacob Wiggs or Jake Wiggs?
I think I've met Wiggs. I
Okay.
think it's Jacob Sweisberger that I
Oh,
have
yeah.
not met.
They travel together. Yeah.
Okay. Then I probably met him. I just, the two Jacobs, I probably forgot all about. I do apologize for that. It has been some time. So I'm really happy for Nate. And actually, I think this kind of success followed Nate going into the Nationals, because I think he made the semis. I know we're going to 8 scale, but he made the semis at the Nationals, qualifies for the Worlds. Like, and he
Kind of
doesn't.
from nowhere. Yeah. Kind of like he went from like nowhere to qualifying for the Worlds. It's pretty funny.
I know. And he doesn't even race 8 scale.
Yeah. Well, it shows you that there's a few drivers that have the ability to do this on a high level, and you can come from 10 scale and you can come over to 8 scale, and as long as you have somebody helping you in the pits or you have somebody with experience, you can eventually get around well. But now, granted, the track, it wasn't like you showed up to Silver State and this is a smooth 10 scale style track. If there is one, it's a 10 scale style track. He should be able to wheel it. And he did.
He did. I'm very happy for Nate. I like him. And when he started out running mod earlier, when he joined Schumacher, was like, what are you doing, Schumacher? His value right now is in stock. I'm not saying he's not going to be a good mod driver, but I think you need to get that value from him in stock. He's got some good mod teammates in Tom Rinderneck and Brock Champlin. But I think that I'm glad that they kind of stuck to letting him run stock for a year. I think he's going to do it for another year. And then he could make that transition up to mod. I know he's obviously practicing for the Worlds as well.
Yeah.
But I think this is where Nate's value is at. And he's still young. And he has some time ahead of him. So he can make that transition a little bit smoother. And I think he has the potential to be like one of the David Bottas, Brendan Schimmels, or one of these guys that have made this jump up from the stock class.
Mm-hmm.
It might take him a year or two. It might not. I mean, he might be fast right off the bat. We don't know. But it's an exciting journey, right? To see what these guys can do from that stock class and when they get to the mod class. I mean, right now, an example would be Doug Leverrier. He's struggling a little bit, but that's the struggles you have to have in order to make it to, you gotta walk before you can run. So he's probably, I think he's going to be there.
Well, it also shows you that there's another level.
Mm-hmm.
You have the level where you can win or dominate in the 17.5, 13.5, but then you get in against the mod big boys, and it shows you that that's a whole nother level. And now it's not just good enough to be kind of fast and kind of consistent. You have to be very fast and very consistent, and that's what makes a good mod racer. And so you get in there and you battle with the heroes, and you got to go through you got to take some lumps to kind of find your bearings and where you kind of belong, and trying to stack up and trying to make the main.
Hey, you got to weather that storm. The gains are so minute in that it's like when you jump up to the pro class in 8 scale, you go from maybe making these big gains in intermediate to making inches every year so far. And you got to kind of stick it out. If you really want to do this and you have the talent to do it, you got to work hard and race hard. And you got to understand that your gains are going to be very small and you got to take advantage of them when you can.
Well, even if you have the talent and you have all this stuff, when you get to the very top drivers, they have all the talent, and they've at some point or another been incredibly disciplined and working hard at their craft to be a better racer. And now you have to match that because you got guys that are just similarly skilled. So it's a big step, but that what you got to take on, and it helps when you're younger, like a Nate and these guys. You got to start kind of early.
Mm-hmm. I agree. All right, let's move on to mod. As we said, Brock Champlin took the win in 2-wheel drive. He took A1 and A2. Spencer Rifkin had some good runs. He had a second, a fourth, and a first. Aiden Horn, who does not like carpet, seems to do pretty well there. He got a third, a sixth, and a second. Schimmel, who I expect to really kind of do well here. But it seemed like the Xray guys in the mod class were a little bit quiet this time around. I mean, we don't. It's strange, right? Because they were so fast at RC1, but then they come here and it's kind of like, hey, something's not right. And when I mean not right, all of them made the main, but they weren't as dominant as they probably were at RC1. You know what I think this is? You think I'm going to think I'm crazy, right? But I think it's like Rivkin coming there. Like Rivkin is the big dog for Associated when it comes to this type of stuff. He brings another level of like, I'm here to do battle. And I think that's kind of like the boost. I think we talked about it on the last one where the Xray guys came in full force and there were no Schumacher guys at RC1. But this time around, we see a full force of Associated guys with Rivkin leading the charge. And I think it was Associated's kind of weekend this weekend, if you look at the results. Okay, Bada didn't have a very good weekend, but Rivkin and who else? We had Rivkin, which was pretty good. We had Aiden. Brennan Schimmel was the toast of the town for Xray. And yeah, I think when you bring those big names in, the levels step up a little bit more.
Yeah, and I don't think that there's been more laps turned probably at RC1 for some of these fast guys than there have been at Island. So readjusting to the facility probably is a part of it too. But they have to go back for the Roar Nats. So we'll see how these results change, if at all, for the Roar Nats. If Brock can win it, if Spencer can stay on his game in the top 3, and see where Schimmel and Dakota and Tom Rinnernick, which is really, to me, you hate to leave any of these guys out because they're all so incredibly fast. But when I think of the guys that I think that are going to win this type of an event, you think of Brock, Spencer, and Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it's you got Aiden, Schimmel, Tom, and Chase Lemieux. I think that's on carpet. I think that's kind of what I would expect. Now, Brennan races a lot of carpet. His home track, his own track is carpet. So I mean, could it be possible that he comes out, at a race like this, the Roar Nats, and has another event like he did at the dirt race? It's not too far fetched.
It is not. I mean, Schimmel's been on a tear, right? He was the best Xray here. He had a 5th, a 3rd, and a 3rd and 2-wheel drive. Rinderneck would probably be a little bit disappointed in his performance, being as this is his home track. At 6th, a 2nd, and a 5th. Fend was just kind of medium. His best result was a 4th and A1 in 2-wheel drive. So and he had a 4th and A3. So he really wasn't in the mix at too much. Even during qualifying, I was checking. Brandon Foot, a solid 7th. I think that's where I expect him. Chase Lemieux, a bit off. I would expect him to be better than 8th. He had a 5th, was his best finish. Alex Vanderbeek, he's from Wisconsin, right? He's
Iowa. I think he's from Iowa.
Okay, but it's a family, right? It's a whole family that races.
Right. Yeah, Mac Vanderbeek, and then you got
you have a younger son, Owen.
Yeah. Owen, Alex. Yep.
A whole family that races. That's good. I remember meeting them. And I would say Doug in 10th, kind of where he's been for this year. And I think the biggest disappointment here will be Davey Bada. I mean, he was just never really in it. He had a 10, and an 8th. And we talked highly about him at RC1. I don't know what happened to him in I mean, he probably didn't have a good qualifying session.
You can see he qualified 10th and then not really gave up, but it seems like he didn't have very good mains and just kind of ended where it ended. But like I said, I think there's kind of the cream of the crop here, and then there's that next level down that could also win. If you're a betting guy, you bet on some of these others to win, and then if you want a little more of a longer shot, you bet on these other guys. But that's still 6 or 7 really strong racers. So you really only leaves you 3, maybe 4 spots, depending. Our race we have 11, but it leaves 3 or 4 spots in the A main just to get in it. because these other guys are so good. And
Yeah.
you can kind of see the results there. I mean, there's not really many, if guys I can think of that are really even missing from this particular event, um, that would I could expect either being in the A main or winning the carpet nat. So obviously, it's a really good testing ground, a really good telltale sign of where that community is at on carpet right now.
Yeah, I think the only people that might interrupt some of these results would be Europeans, to be honest, if this was an
Yeah, of
international
course.
race.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe a Cav,
Correct.
maybe,
Yeah.
but I think that's the only person that really is kind of missing from this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're looking at the creme de la creme of
Yeah.
10 skill.
Yeah.
Maybe I think even on dirt, I don't think there's going to be
Yeah.
much change on dirt. We'll
Yeah.
see.
The guys are almost identically the same.
Yes. So I look at that four-wheel drive results. Brock, he had a fourth in A1. Rivkin won A1. Then Brock went on to win A2 and A3. The Brock and Rivkin have been battling each other for years, for many years, and it's interesting to see it. Interesting dynamic. Schimmel shows up. He gets a second. He has a second. He has 2 seconds and a fourth in A3. Rinderneck should be happy with a third.
Mm-hmm.
I would think a third. He had a third, a fourth, and a third. Rivkin probably not happy with this result because he did have a win, so that puts him in the fight to take the overall win in full job. But he ended up with a first, a sixth, and a fifth. What happened to Rivkin? Do you remember in his?
And he TQ'd.
Yeah.
So yeah, he TQ'd and he was leading both of that second and the third main, and had one was um, a minor incident where two cars touched, and it wasn't really anybody's fault. And he I'm not gonna say he got the worst of it, but then I think it was a little bit of like he got off rhythm. I think Brock put a pass on him in one of the mains. I can't remember if it was second or third, and they touched, and it just kind of set Spencer kind of squirreling, and he had to regain, um, his composure there, and he made another mistake, which dropped him whatever it was there to fifth or sixth. Um, and it was really just one. I think Spencer was leading both of those races. Well, he was leading all three, obviously, at one point or another, and just made a mistake. And it just shows you that, if you go back and you look at the actual, laps themselves, it's happening so fast, and you just one little mistake like that, and you can see if you go back here to A2, um, actually in A2, Spencer crashed on the first lap. So it was the third main I think I was looking at where he had the little touch and go with Brock, which it wasn't like anybody's fault. It was just the way the cars kind of came together. But, he led all the way to lap 8, then he went to third, and then he made a mistake on his own, which dropped him to sixth and then fifth. So, had he stayed in third, he probably would have got second overall. But that's how it goes.
Yeah, you can't make these mistakes, not in this short time. On a track that's fast, where people can, they're going just as fast as you, just waiting for them to make a mistake.
Yeah.
You just, I think A1, that's when Brock kind of smacked the wall coming into the straightaway, and he hit it. I'm surprised he didn't break, and
Yeah.
he kept on going. But once you hit that wall, you lose all momentum, right?
Well, hopefully that is something that they're kind of working on with the Schumacher cars. I do believe that they are some of the best and fastest cars, but I think that a little bit of increase in durability, I would say, is probably just the one little thing that they're missing. Is when I look out there and I look at the drivers, more times I see their cars broken before somebody else's. And I think that if anything, that's just the one little thing that they have to work on. And, obviously Brock is racing a new 4-wheel drive here. He's not running the car that, he's not running the car that they're selling right now. He's running a new car, and they were running it at the world's warm up. They're running it at the world's warm up. And, so I'm excited about it because I saw the car and I'm like, I like this thing. It looks great. And, they're not really promoting it yet. They'll take pictures with just the body, and they'll take, we were doing that, I think, at the warm up and at the Roar Nats. We were taking pictures of Brock. He'd come up with the body. And it's like, come on, man.
I heard it's got shafts. It doesn't have belts. That's what I'm told. So,
Yeah,
my little bird told me.
yeah, and I like it. I'm glad that they're kind of making a revamp to that platform and maybe addressing some of these small durability things that you have along the way. And because obviously 13.5 and these classes are such big components of 10 scale racing, you have to have a great vehicle and durable vehicle to really get have more sales in that category.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to finish off Fend in fifth, continues his more of a medium type of weekend. I mean, he's allowed to have an off weekend now and then. He then went on to win the 8-scale nationals after this. Nothing too big, just the 8-scale nationals. It was a
only
great race.
3 or 4 classes, right?
Only 3 or 4 classes. That's all.
Yeah.
It was a great race, though. It was a great race. I enjoyed the nationals a lot. I know it's 10 scale, but it was a good race.
Oh man.
And then we had Chase Lemieux, Aiden Horn, Brandon Foote, Davey Bada, Tyler Patinod, and Juan Lopez, who we was just talking about. So some different names in there from two-wheel drive, and good to see. Good to see.
Yeah, and this is like we mentioned earlier, kind of affecting the point standings now with Brock getting 2 wins here and Spencer getting 2 seconds, and it's really tightening things up on the modified class for the points. And we want people to, and we want the racers to really value these points, because that's really the overall result that we're looking for at the end of the year. Can you win these kind of events? And they're not easy to win because we're doing it between 2 different surfaces, 5 different tracks, as we talked about before. We've been doing this our 15th season of doing this, but we're pushing the points a little bit more than we ever have, and we're hoping that drivers are kind of in it for the long haul and want to win the points side of these things, as well as the individual events. And we can see it. I know when we put the points up, these racers might not say all the time that they know what's going on, but I know one thing's for sure: every time we get to the last event, they know exactly what they got to do to win. And
well, right now between first and sixth, it's separated by 5 points. So Brock has 200, Schimmel has 195. Him and Chase are tied with 195. So what I realized the other day? This is the only real national, when I say big 10 scale series going on in the world right now, because EOS is just really, when I say series of racing, EOS is just one race right now.
Yeah.
I know Xray has got their Xray series going on as well over there in Europe as well. Well, right now, the INS is the only 10 scale national series with full coverage, points, top drivers from that. I mean, it's obviously heavily USA based because it's taking place in the USA.
Yeah.
Right now, it's the only 10 scale series going on in the world.
Yeah, and we're not limited to just Roar racers only. You can come here from any country and compete on the indoor national series. So, and we have had racers. We know we've had Jona Hatanen and other guys come in and run some of our races, which really added some interesting flair to it. And I do think in the future, I do see some more of that happening. It takes more of a commitment. I mean, it's hard to get Orlowski to come, because I mean he's running the most amount of platforms of anybody right now in racing. So, but I wouldn't be surprised if you told him, "Hey, would you come and run a couple of these?" He'd be like, "Okay." I mean, he seems like he's game to do just about anything, as long as someone's paying the travel.
Well, yeah, of course. He at that level, you need to be paid for it. It's a job. I would love to see Orlowski come over and do some racing. And I think, like you said, in the future, I think as I know the media coverage increases and everything goes, and we kind of, like you said, we need these drivers to start taking the points a little bit more serious, not just at the end of the event. We need them to be like, hey, I'm in the points. I'm going to the INS next weekend. I've got this much points. I need to go. And it's a shift in mentality, I think, because we're not used to that in the USA to an extent. Where in Europe, these guys usually run a national series for their countries,
Yeah.
especially in scale and in 10 scale. They have a series of races that they do. So it's a different mentality compared to in America, it's kind of one-off races, especially in 1/8 scale. And our national series are just one races. I actually had to explain this to some guys the other day because they thought the Euros was the qualification for the world. It's not. It's just for the European Championship. But it's a shift in the mentality that has to happen, and we have to like kind of pound it into these guys' head. Hey, the points. Like, you may not win, but a top 5 is good in the long run, and you may skip this race, but you never know where those points might come in handy.
Yeah, if you look at the points, there's the thing that just happened with Spencer, with him getting 4th overall, and he was TQ and he won a main. Had he gotten 2nd overall, if you would have pulled up the 4-wheel mod points there, that would be a dramatic difference for him. So you can see how those positions and points really do make a huge difference. And you go to a race like that, you really have to get the best result that you can get. And because he got a 98, including the TQ point there. So if he would have got 2nd, he would have got 100 points. And you can see what difference that would make in his overall total, right? Like,
he would have been in 2nd and 2 points behind Brock instead of 3.
Yeah. So
maybe if he would have came to RC1, he would be ahead, right?
Correct. So. But and it's hard because you have to set a schedule for yourself as a racer doing multiple genres of classes of competition. You're like, hey, how many of these am I going to do? And I know every single year I have the same conversation with a handful of the guys where they wish they ran more of the races, because when they get to the end, they wish they would finish higher. When you get to the end and the points are actually calculated and then the awards are given out, they're like, man, if I would have ran one more race, maybe I could have replaced my bat finish. I'm like, hey, I've been telling you that.
Hey, you know what you got to do? You got to put like a $10,000 purse for the winner. Then they'll attend every single race. Mm-hmm. They come at. But that's a lot of money to put up.
Well, and it's not completely, I'm not saying that's something that can't happen. Of course we could do that if we wanted to do it. But I would think that maybe it would be something where you'd want to spread it between 4 or 5 classes, because I think to just give it to the modified guys alone, I think is they're kind of getting a race payout anyway, based on the overall result. It would be, down the line, maybe something that could be introduced is you have something like a $10,000 purse, but it's divided between, the classes that you want to divide it between. So something to that effect. But it comes with time. It comes with popularity. Sponsorships make a big difference. Who's gonna, it's one thing for somebody to, come out with $10,000 out of their pocket and say, "Hey, I'm just gonna give it to everybody. No big deal." It's like
some value at that. You need some ROI.
Yeah. It's like, hey, what do I get for the 10,000 here? Right. But so that's a big part of the game. But it's not something that I think is unreasonable to introduce eventually. But you also want to include as many classes as you can, because you don't want to eliminate any. And then in a race like this, we have a lot of classes. So it's like, say we have 10 classes or whatever the number is, it's hard to eliminate some, and then if you say, well, let's do it for the most popular classes, then it's going to be stock 17.5 and 13.5. They're probably the largest segment, sometimes 40 plus. And then, if those are the 3 classes you're giving it to, then it's like, all right, well, the modified guys are, not getting any part of this. So it's hard to decide how to distribute the whole thing if you wanted to do that. And
I think in terms of growth, though, the more it grows and the more eyes on it and the more recognition it gets. I'm saying it doesn't have recognition.
Yeah.
The more popular it gets, the more companies will be like, okay, let's do it, and then we'll see some improvement. But like you said, that comes in the future as well. We need these drivers to really start pumping it now. But it's a mentality switch, and it's going to take some time.
The other thing is that I've noticed is it's sometimes it's hard to tell what your reach really is too, because not everybody either shares or likes what they're watching.
Mhm.
So, like for instance, I was just at the Euros, and so many drivers there telling me all the stuff that they're watching that we're doing back home. It was just mind-boggling to me how many drivers at the Euros were watching the Roar Nationals. They were watching our INS events. They're watching these different interviews and all these things, and it's like, you know, it's like I didn't know you were really watching and caring about this kind of stuff, and they know everything about it. They know everything that's going on. They know everything about it. Uh, Specifically, the four classes at the Roar Nationals, that was really highly watched by everybody that I was talking to at the Euros. Everybody knew what was going on. They knew about the results. They understood what was happening. Um, and then going back to some of the INS races, the Roar Nationals and 10 scale, it was um, it was really uh, kind of refreshing in a sense to hear so many racers talk about the other events besides the ones they're competing in themselves.
That's good. That's good. That's what we want, right? We want that. We want people to the more eyes, not just RC eyes, but hopefully
Yeah,
non-RC eyes as well. I, I wanted to give a little love to some of the other classes. We had Tucker Mitchell, Avon Dortch, Blaine Gold, Dawson Camacho, and Ryan Preeb in 17.5 two-wheel drive Blinky. And that actually helped Tucker Mitchell because he's leading the points.
hmm
Followed by Skylar Mandela, who's got 196. Avon Dortch, who's from Hoosier, he's got
yeah,
193. And then we have Nolan Hunt and Ryan Benedict running out your top five. We have Florida native Matthew Martin in 6. So a lot of these names. Oh, Michelle Letarte, she's 11th. Very nice. So she's from up Wisconsin, hearing impaired driver. That's why we have to have a light. Someone's like, why do you have a green and red light there? I said, well, we have a hearing impaired driver that needs to see when it's time to go. So that's good to see. So that's kind of doing its job because I got to meet Tucker and Avon. They're both, and Skylar. I think they're all very fast, young
yeah.
racers.
I've met them all. Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah. And very impressed with them. So we need to show them some love. And then I want to go to four-wheel drive. Let me find it real quick. Nope, that's A3. But four-wheel drive, we had Tucker Mitchell, who's took the sweep, followed by Skylar Mandela, Ryan Hovis, Michael Thornton, and Nolan Hunt. And that brings them, let's see what they're. I really like this, Danny Paz. You did a good job of this, by the way. Skylar Mandela's in front by 1 point over Tucker Mitchell, followed by Nolan Hunt. Thomas Vandervelden, he's in 4th. Michael Thornton, Avon Dortch, Matthew Martin, Brian Letarte, in front of his wife, Michelle Letarte, Brian Fraley, and Chris Aaron. So I know all of these. I've met all of these racers. So really cool to see this. I love the points in there. And we have to show some love to short course truck and stadium. Let's look at stadium. Oh, so Jovi won that, followed by
He's the
Minnesota.
Stadium Truck 13.5 master, I think.
He won by 1 lap.
Yeah.
Over Minnesota's Kyle Holmberg, Nate Sutherland, Ryder Himonek, who's very good in this as well. Jake Wiggs, Connor Barrows, Evan Cook. Evan, I was talking to Evan the other day. He helped me out to find a new ESC for my my mini T, micro T that you had a lot of fun with. It died.
I wore it out.
So he helped me out. But let's see their points for Stadium Truck. And Nate's leading that. It's still pretty close there. Nate's got 199. Ryder's got 195. Evans 193. Connor Barrows, okay. When it gets to Tyler Marg, it looks like he didn't make this race. Tucker Mitchell, and we don't have Jovi because I think he's only done one race. But yeah, Nate's still leading that. But Ryder's 4 points behind him. And do we have short course? Okay, so short course is Jamie Thompson, Chris Garay, whose car is absolutely beautiful, Jose Garay, Kyle Swanson, and DJ Shepard. Short course was really big at trackside, really big. It was like 2-3 heats, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So, see, what can we expect? I can expect this is going to be my. Let's see. I've been to Now I've been to Trackside, Beach RC. I went to OCRC for a club night and Beast of the East track for Fonda Alley. This is my 4th dirt 10 scale track, but this is also an 8 scale track and it's big. So what can we expect? What can I expect going into Omaha at the Hobbyplex there in about 3 weeks' time?
The perspective that you drive from is very high compared to all the other tracks. I would say that would be the one major difference, and then the track falls away from you. So the further you are away from the driver stand, usually the lower the track is, and it's a huge perspective difference there than everything else. A lot of these tracks, the driver stand, especially the carpet tracks. Well, RC1 had a really tall driver stand, but lots of these tracks don't have a very tall stand. And then you got this this track at the Hobbyplex, which is, it can be twice or 3 times the height of some of these carpet tracks. It's amazingly high, and that you have the more of a down the bird's eye view of the cars driving versus that side, more of a side perspective. And a lot of drivers tell me that that's something they have to adjust to. And I'm trying to figure out where, I know where the announcing area is, where I'm sure Lance will be the entire time. Setting up, Danny will probably be up on the driver's stand. What month are we in? July? Okay.
It's going to be warm.
It's going to be warm, Danny. And then where we're going to put you, yeah, I don't know. You I mean, sometimes you can watch the monitor. If you can watch the monitor and call the races, you could do it probably from the pits with your air condition. That's what I'd be pulling for if I was you. Danny might need to hook a remote to that. But I mean, him and Lance and those guys are such troopers, man. It's going to be warm, but the perspective of the track is number one. The size of the track for 10 scales, 2. The falling away nature of the track is definitely different. And yeah, other than that, it's a facility that has a completely stocked hobby store for everything from A to Z. If you want to build a model or fly a paper airplane, I'm sure you could buy that in there, to the most high-end car or airplane up there in the Hobby Town track.
And run by a passionate racer. You know, Alex is a very passionate, very involved racer. His son's very good as well.
Yeah.
Emerson. And I like him. I like him a lot. And I look forward to the track that they build. I know it's going to be warm. Is it going to be like Florida warm with lots of humidity, or is it going to be a little dry? I hope it's dry.
I think it's got some humidity to it. I don't see it being super comfy for you guys being in the track area. But if you're in the pits, that's a whole different story because it's air conditioned, or in the hobby store. But if you're in the track area, you're gonna be living the life there.
Hopefully we get some good racing up there. It's going to be slick tires, like you said, dirt, clay.
I'm predicting a little bit of controversy. I think I'm predicting a little bit for you. We had a little there last year, so I think that I think we got some guys here. 4 races into the series, and those points. Even though they say they don't know what the points are, they know what they are, and
of course they do.
We're gonna see some close racing, and obviously none of these guys want to just plow into each other, but it happens in the course of these races. So we're gonna have some tight, intense stuff for sure.
Hot temperatures equal hot tempers. That's all I know.
Yeah.
It should be good. And then, of course, after this race, we're going to have the Carpet Nationals. Then all eyes will be on the Worlds, which is going to be interesting.
E-Buggy Worlds.
E-Buggy Worlds, too. That I think we'll both be at that. I'm planning, and you'll be there as well. But obviously, the big enchilada is the 10 scale Worlds. Mm-hmm. As we're recording this, Ronna Falk and Fenn just went down there for another race. Lachlan won again. Mm-hmm. we brought up the question on our last podcast: can Xray do the sweep? I mean, they just won the nationals. They won. Well, actually, didn't they just win the 10 scale nationals too? Did Schimmel won? So they swept that. They won the 8 scale nationals. They won the Euros just now. Very highly likely that one of them. I mean, it's hard not to bet against David, even though it's e-buggy. He's really good at e-buggy. I'm not sure if Fenn's going. I think he's going.
He's going.
Oh, great.
As far as I know. And I think Mayfield's going too.
Really? Oh, I'm even more excited now. And
I actually think that this e-buggy Worlds has the potential to be as exciting as any of the other events that the Worlds that are out there. I would say at this point, if I was to be a racer, I still want to win 2-wheel buggy at the Worlds the most, 8 scale buggy, nitro buggy, but I'm going to move e-buggy now into maybe the 3rd spot, because I think when this is all said and done, I think a lot of racers are going to wish they had ran the e-buggy Worlds, because I think the track, the facility is going to suit those cars really well, and the longer, I would assume 10-minute mains should be interesting. So I wish we could at some point or another adopt my proposed 5A main format for 10th scale, but
5A mains.
5A mains. That's my
at 10 minutes.
Well, for I was talking about for 10 scale.
Okay.
I wanted to have 5-minute mains.
Okay, so 20 minutes of runtime altogether. That's 3 out of 5.
Correct. Because,
Gotcha.
but anyway, we can go down that another day. But this e-buggy world, I think, is really going to bring some excitement to the class, and I think people are going to wish they had gone.
Some prestige too. Not saying that it isn't prestigious, but I would have to agree with you in number of world championships, like ranking. I mean, I'll argue with you over 2-wheel drive and nitro buggy there, but I think it gets into a close third. Third, I don't think there's any real. I think the only other worlds that might compare to it would be a 4-wheel drive worlds,
of course,
and then maybe a 8 scale onward worlds is probably that top 5. But
touring, I still would want to win touring car over the 8 scale on-road worlds.
I forgot about that.
But yeah, I would really put this in the top 3. You know, I'd love to win an e-buggy worlds. Who wouldn't? But I think that what people sometimes don't understand, and that's your saying, is that, you know, e-buggy pays the bills. But I think that the reality is e-buggy is probably, it's not probably, I think it is more popular than nitro buggy. So we love nitro buggy, of course, because of the races, the long races, and all this stuff. But in terms of a sales standpoint, e-buggy is the most popular, and who doesn't want to win the most popular racing class? It seems a little ridiculous not to want to, which has been my theory over the years why we've never had a truck world championships, because over the course of all of RC's existence, what has sold more RC cars? Nobody sold anything. Trucks have dominated sales, whether it's monster trucks, stadium trucks, short course trucks. Trucks are probably responsible for the most amount of sales in RC, period. And we've never had a world championship for it. Now, today, do we really need one? I don't know. But there's definitely been a time period where it was very missed out. Having a stadium truck or even a short course would have been cool for a very short period of time to have a world champion. Because there was times where there was big name sponsors we had in the games, with all these tie-ins to major companies. I'm sure there was times where Associated had licensing with all these major companies. It would have been nice to get them in on the action in the 2010s range, but it never happened. And so now we got this e-buggy worlds, which I think is great.
I'm not against it. I actually think that I think e-truggy's growing at such a tremendous rate. I think it only makes sense to probably. I know I was talking to Carlos last year about it, and they were flirting with having e-truggy as well. And e-truggy is, I wouldn't say popular, but
Yeah.
in Spain and I would say in some areas, France, e-truggy is a popular class. So maybe that's the next transition over to another world and have it at e-buggy world. But like I said, a world is a world, and somebody is going to want to be the first ever e-buggy world champion.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it. The Barcelos, they're going to change the track. I think they did a good job of changing the track this time around. The surface kind of stays the same. It's going to be a little weird because it's not going to have the nitro cars on it, so it probably be a little bit different. And it's a beautiful facility. I think the Americans that haven't been there, they're going to go there and going to be like, okay, it's a nice facility. It's permanent. Barcelos is a nice little town where you can walk everywhere you need to go. It's reasonably priced over there as well.
Yeah.
Very well priced over there. You can get good food, good drink for very good prices. And I think they're going to enjoy it. I know I'm going to enjoy being there. And then,
yeah, I just went there, and I'm completely signed off on it being a great location for these events, and the experience I had was great. And I think the only thing guys are going to want is they wish they would wish that they ran more there, or they went there for some type of a pre-world event or something to kind of get them ready and prepared a little bit better than just watching on video.
yeah. And that's a very high grip track. So especially when it's freshly glued, it's too much traction at some point. It's like carpet, or even probably more traction than carpet. And then, of course, the 10 scale world. So it's going to be interesting to see if Xray can pull off this sweep and then going into 2026.
Well, the other thing I think that would be interesting is they've done all this without Bruno, right? So, and now, granted, if you put him in there, their chances would increase more. But um, yeah, I think there's a lot of individuals and people out there that really they still wish Bruno was on the Xray team and the Xray program, because I think they thought it was, uh, good for the business. But they are in a very unique position. Um, Man, if they win all those races, um, it's going to be a mess on the internet.
It's probably going to be one of the best years of RC.
It's
And
just
it's
going to be a
possible.
mess on the internet.
Oh yes, we all love the internet. It's feasible though. 10 scale worlds it's going to be difficult. I think the most difficult one. But after Defen's performance in 8 scale at the Nationals, and if it's hard to say in 2026, but that we're going to save that for another day, because we don't want to get too excited about that. We still got 2 world championships to go, a national titles to go, our European championships in 10 scale to go as well, which is going to be interesting because I think they're going to glue the track in Slovakia as well. So lots of racing, dude. It's busy. I think people don't realize how busy these schedules are. So you start traveling to them. I know you're uber busy, but it's a grind, man. It's like no time off. Maybe Christmas.
Well, for somebody that's in my position or even your position, you go to these events, but that's not really. It's just part of the job for me. Like, really getting back home and doing the work that you can do in the office, or the little that you can do on your phone. That's the real work. And then going to the races is the bonus. That's like you're on overtime, and because you're already running, um, you know, long days and through the weekend for normal stuff, and then going to the races is on top of that. So, um, and a lot of people in these positions, you're not just just go race to race and that's only your job. There's a lot more responsibility than that. We get a lot of people that tell us all the time, "Hey, do you need somebody to go to the races for you?" And it's like, well, no, we want people that can do both. You have to be able to have a like you said, you got to have a return on what this investment is of whether you're on the road or at an office job. You have to have a return on it, what you're getting out of it. And you can't just go to the races and race. as a job unless you are a threat as a top contender or you're a 100% product development person. So yeah, it is a big schedule. Definitely not complaining, that's for sure. Getting to see great racing.
I'm excited to get back. I'm excited to get back by 2 weeks. So it's been a long 2.5 months at home. A lot of work, a lot of recording. Even more to go after I do this. I think we're going to end this. We're going to make some picks for Omaha.
Okay.
So I think we'll just do winners of 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, and stock. So I'm going to say Schimmel and 4-wheel drive, Aiden Horn and 2-wheel drive,
Okay.
and stock. I hope Pacignoni comes. If he does,
good point.
It's going to be between him and the Raymond twins if they go as well, which I hope they do.
Yeah, it might be worthwhile checking, who's signed up, but at the same time, whew, I really, this is so hard to call. Like, you're just throwing stuff out there.
I never do anything without. It's all pure emotional for me. Never, no facts involved.
Well, that's the question: is do you when you do these type of picks, do you pick with your like you're putting money on it, or are you picking because you like this person, or you think that they're like upcoming, or what's the pick really boiled down to?
Well, my pick for Schimmel comes after such a good performance at the Dirt Nats, even though it was a different type of dirt and high traction. I think he's on a roll, right? And I think after not doing as good as he probably wants at the recent at Island, which was probably the last big race that we had, he's going to come out swinging. I like Schimmel's attitude. When he gets into that zone, he takes no prisoners, and I like that about him.
So, and then you were saying 17.5, 13.5. What was your?
You know what? The Pacignoni, if he goes, I think he can take one of those, and I definitely think the Raymond twins can do good. But we're also forgetting somebody that I think can do well too. Maybe not win, but definitely get in that top 3 would be Emerson Sturgeon, because this is like his home track.
Or Nate.
Or Nate, yeah, I forgot all about Nate. Jesus. Yeah. So
I'll take Nate.
You'll take Nate? Okay, that's not a bad pick.
Yeah, I'll take Nate for the 17.5, 13.5. Not that, like you said, there's anywhere you can go wrong here with some of these. And I'm going to take Brock to win one of the 2-wheel or the 4-wheel classes. I guess I got to decide on which one. Last year he won 2-wheel, I think, and really? Then Spencer won 4-wheel last year.
Spencer can want to win.
He's gonna want to win. He's kind of due one, I think. So, man, I just don't know. I'm gonna go. Well, they're also gonna be running the new car, right? Associated's gonna be running their B84. They haven't ran that yet. In a big competition like this, they haven't ran the Schumacher. They're running their new car. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick Brock for 4-wheel. Who do we got for 2-wheel? You picked Aiden. I think Chases do a pretty good run. I wouldn't argue. I could see him winning one of the classes, and then I see Spencer being maybe competing for that down to a third main. Maybe he gets second or third, and then Aiden, he could be another one, second or third, and then I think Tom's going to be pretty close. And I'm leaving out Schimmel, but I don't know where to put all these guys.
It's hard, isn't it?
It's a complete guess.
You know what I hope for? I hope they all go to A3s. That's what I hope for.
How about? Do we know if Dakota's running this? I guess I should really know, but
maybe. But it is a week directly after Wicked Weekend, and he'll be there, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think he's got he's just came back from
Australia.
He's just coming back from Australia. But you do, if you want to compete in this in the championship for these events, you're gonna have to you got to go to them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I hope he comes. I think I've seen Fenn run dirt yet, because he didn't go to trackside.
Yeah, the closest probably would be is he did the race at the beginning of the year in the Roar-Nats.
Right. So I would love to see him do some more dirt racing and whatnot. It's going to be interesting. And just
Look at
hopefully,
the entries here.
all A3s and great qualifying. I always like good qualifying battles too.
You know what's strange is sometimes I actually like the qualifying better than I like the mains, just because sometimes they get so muddied up in the mains and you don't know what's going to happen. Or it's not so much you don't know what's going to happen, it's that there's the drama, the takeouts. It seems like qualifying is a little bit more straightforward. And,
Well, they're also
uh,
pushing the limit so much in qualifying, right? Trying to get that 10th of a second every
yeah, like at
repetition.
yeah, like at the Euros, it was the qualifying was amazingly entertaining as well as the Roar-Nats. So
Yeah, it
yeah,
was very good.
yeah.
Very
Looking
good.
down the modified list here, another name on the list that's signed up is Cole Tollard. We all like him.
Ooh.
Um, Spencer, Aiden, Davey Bata. We forgot to mention Davey, but he's in there. Chase Lemieux, Tom Rinnernick, and Brennan Schimmel. I don't see Dakota on here. It doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to be running, um, but yeah, I think we kind of got most of the names right we were picking at least. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Dakota show up, although it's been a while since I've seen him at the Hobbyplex. Maybe between Australia and Wicked Weekend, he might be looking for a time off. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to race.
Sometimes you just got to race. You just got
Gotta
to
race.
do it. That's your job. You got to race. I guess we'll say to, if you listen to this, give us your picks in the comments of this. Let us know who you think is going to do well. And of course, we're all getting ready after this. Obviously, after the Worlds and all that, we have the finals at the Hoosier Hobbyplex, which should be good and well attended because it's a very popular race track, very popular facility, pretty much easy for everybody to get to as well. I'm looking forward to going to my first race there as well. The plan is for me to go. And then after that, we have what I call pretty much the Carpet World Championships in Florida, which is another event that you guys sponsor and do very well at. And those guys do a great job down there at in Florida for that race at Beachline. So it's a lot of 10 scale racing. It's pretty much, we have the two big 8 scale races. Of course, we have the e-buggy world. We have Wicked Weekend, AMS left. Then it's 10 scale, like lots of 10 scale going on. So it should be very good. Very good.
Yeah, with that build up through the worlds, and then yeah, so it's going to be interesting. There is very difficult to call any of these right now, as it I guess has how it always is. It's hard to pick the winner. Um, sure, you can pick it once the grid's set a little bit more, but when you have to do it from scratch, it's tough to pick a winner.
You know who I hope comes over and races carpet this year at the Florida Championships? Marcus Carroll. I really hope he does. I really want to see that young man race 10 skill. I think he's uber talented. I think that kid is like a world champion in multiple classes at
Yeah,
some point.
yeah, I think it can happen. I think
So
it could happen this year.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. At all. Also, I wanted to say, I told you this. I really like the products, the crawler products.
Okay.
Love the bodies, all that type of stuff. I said to you, crawler pays the bills. And I love all the photos from all the different crawler events and all that type of stuff. So good stuff from that.
We
Always,
have we have two guys that are going out and doing the events. Rich, who's been with us for a long time. Robert is new for the last year and a half, and Robert and Rich are going to these events for us and helping us develop the product, design the product, and get the right thing at the right time for these in the crawler segment. And yeah, we're pushing a lot. We got an additional van that we purchased this year just for the crawling events. We got a new tent set up for the JConcepts Adventure Team, is what we're calling it. So we have a complete setup from our race setup to our crawler event setup, and yeah, we're putting a lot of focus in that.
it's a lot of participants, man. I'm a big crawler fan. Scale stuff, the competition side of things. I met Robert at Armageddon. I think he does a lot of the painting of the crawler stuff. So he's really good at that. And then what race was he at? And he just seemed out of place because it was a race. Oh, might have been a Florida race. I
I'm
can't
trying
remember.
to. He did go to. Did he go into Tallahassee with?
He did. He did.
Yep,
He did.
he went to Tallahassee with Julian.
I was like, this isn't your cup of tea. You're a crawler guy, but he did a good job. He had the camera out.
Yep.
You guys definitely are producing a lot of content. I appreciate what you guys do, especially on that side of things. And keep up. I gotta tell you, keep up the good work. People enjoy your work, and good job. And thank you. For you was like the first people to get us some video from the Euros, which was great. And I appreciate that. And I look forward. Well, I'll see you before that, but I look forward to going to Portugal and seeing you there.
Yep, it's going to be exciting.
I think so. E-buggy does 10-minute sprints. The e-buggy races that I've been seeing there, one of the best e-buggy races was 2023 between Canas and Ongaro at that track.
Yeah.
So it should be good. But first, we got the INS to go, and that should be good. It's going to be warm, but it's going to be good. I can't wait. Jason, thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and I will see you soon. And we doing some good racing at INS, and we got tune in because we're going to be doing some good coverage. I'll be back there. Hopefully, we get some kerfuffleage, and we'll be right there. We didn't get it at Island. Well, like you said, if hot, there was some kerfuffleage last year, and maybe we'll see some this year, and we will not shy away from it at all. And let us know your picks in the comments. I want to say a big shout out to you, Jason, JConcepts, A-Main Hobbies, Hobby Wing, Schumacher, Exalt, Associated, Reedy, and a big shout out to the Elite RC Productions. Go over to the YouTube channel for the Elite RC Productions, hit that sub, like, and notification button for them. Them guys are doing awesome work. They've had a little bit of a break. Now it's time to get back to work for them. So it should be good. From Jason and Lefty, we thank you guys all, and look forward to the INS race.